doing here is we're going to be looking at rotations. But we're just going to kind of get a feel for what a rotation is from a geometric standpoint. And it consists of a couple of things. First thing is it has to be around a point. So in this case, we're going to rotate around point D. The second thing that we need to keep in mind is that there's going to be a specific angle which we rotate around. And unless otherwise told, if we're just told a 90-degree rotation, that means that we're actually going 90 degrees in a counterclockwise situation. But what we're going to do here now is we're actually going to first decide that we're going to get the distance from D to each of these points. And we're just going to start off with A. So we know how to do that in Desmos. We've connected the two. That's going to be our distance. We don't really need to know what it is. We just need to make sure that we are using that distance when we are using our compass. And you know that in order to use a compass, we select our radius, and then we select the center. Now that gives us our first possibility. I'm going to make this purple. And the reason I'm going to make that purple is because we have to get 3 more of these circles on here. So B, I look at my compass, I choose this, and I set its center, and I want this one to be, let's say red. And then the last compass measure that we need is from D to C. And I get my compass tool. I select that. And you can see this gives us a pretty big circle for that last point. Now, we have to have these circles if we are constructing a rotation. We'll see other ways of doing rotations later. Now, we need an angle of rotation. And this is normally given to you. Right now, we're just going to kind of be arbitrary. And I'm going to say that we're rotating this figure, let's say, let's say 170 degrees. So that's our angle of rotation. And that 170 degrees needs to be rotated for each point. So need to get to 170. And then one more time. Need to get to 170. Which admittedly becomes harder and harder to see as we, well, that wasn't it. It becomes harder and harder to see as we move on, but let's see, 170, there we go. So we now have our 3 new points, which have all been moved 170 degrees over. And all we have to do is form our polygon between those. And as you see, this polygon, which would be A prime B prime and C prime. Is our image. So let's kind of walk through that one more time with this image, and then we'll get a new shape and rotate it about a point. So we have our original polygon. First thing we need to do is we need to get the measurement from the point of rotation, or the center of rotation, to the points that we are rotating. After we have that, we set our angle, and that angle is going to be the same for each point. Okay? And then we just have our image. So this is if we were constructing an image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now select everything. And I'm selecting everything so that I can delete everything. And we're going to make a new figure. Let's say we make a pentagon. We don't see many pentagons in, or we haven't seen many pentagons in this course so far. Here's my pentagon. And I need a point that I'm going to rotate about. And I'm going to make this point relatively close to our setup. So we have pentagon A, B, C, D, and E. And we're going to rotate around point F. Okay. First thing we do is we need to build our individual segments. However, just so it is a little bit easier to see, I'm going to do a little bit of hiding of stuff and make it one color. So we're making our segments. And remember, we need a segment to go from our center of rotation to each vertex we have, which I did a spectacular job of doing right there. Okay, so we have that. Now we are going to get our compass tool. And we're going to, for each of those, this time I'm not going to change the color. We're making a circle. Okay. And now for each of those, we are going to make our angle. Let's say we're rotating this 78 degrees. So click our first vertex, go here, and then go to the same circle and make sure that we have a 78-degree angle, which we do. And we just repeat this process for each of our angles. Now we're on this second circle, which I'm very difficult time locking onto. There we go. And we go out 78. My C, come in, go out. 78. My D, come in, go out, $78, and finally my E, come in, go out to the circle that my E is on, and go around 78. Oh, that's too far. 79, 78. Okay. Now, just so it's a little easier for us to see the actual shapes, I'm going to hide my compass. And we just make our new polygon. Which I guess I'm making via segments this time. Okay. And we can check to see if this is correct or not by acknowledging the fact that if it's correct, then everything needs to be congruent. So if we look at our, keeping in mind that it is possible for there to be a rounding error, we're just going to select everything there and select everything here. And you can see a little bit of a rounding error or a possible placement error. On. But we can kind of see what's going on. That doesn't change the angle. But yeah, you can see that there is a slight error in my rotation, but you see the way that it works. Probably because all of these angles are muddled together. We can see how far I was off by using the transformation tool. Define transformation, rotation, choose a point as my center. Before I do this, actually, I'm going to have to hide a few things. I did not want to move anything. I wanted to hide stuff. I'm going to have to hide that so that I can actually select what I want, but we can already tell that everything's kind of messed up now. That is fine, because you will see that it's roughly correct. So we choose our center point of rotation, and then we define our degree. We went 78, so 78. And we're going to have to select an object, which we are going to select that. And we click apply, and you see how it lines up roughly, even though we can tell that my angles are a little off down here. So that's an introduction to rotations. That is how we construct rotations. I hope that you are staying safe, and I will see you in the